Not having a good day today. I've now got smoke in my van as well from a diesel heater. So I started off the day. Look at that, it's everywhere. Yeah, time to get some ventilation out. Let's get some doors open. Jeez, you just couldn't make this up, could you? Build a van, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. And yeah, it wasn't really the way that I thought this morning was going to go, in full fairness. So yeah, like I say, we used the NASA space quilt Kickstarter thing I told you about in the other video. I've not really needed the diesel heater on overnight, so it's normally kind of maybe about half six in the morning. Gets a bit chilly because it's been about -4, -5 overnight. So the van inside then gets to about 8 degrees ish, something like that, without any heating on overnight. So I usually just put the diesel heater on for, you know, like an hour or something, gets it up to temperature. Then I get up and start my day. And yeah, so the diesel heater had been on for about an hour, and I basically just went to turn it off, and I'm like, that's a bit weird. I can smell diesel. And then literally within maybe 30 seconds from smelling diesel, there was smoke. Odd thing is, the carbon monoxide alarm and the smoke alarm were not sounding at all, but there was, as you saw, a lot of smoke in the van. So just opened up all the doors instantly, just to let the smoke out. And then I got my it's going to sound weird, I got my Ryobi leaf blower out, got that, and then just sort of, like, you know, blew that on the diesel heater to basically cool it down. As luck would have it, or whatever, I was taking out the seat, the driver's seat, which is where the diesel heater sits anyway, to fit a lower seat base and a swivel plate. So I removed the seat, removed the base, and you can see there on the left hand side is the new base, the lower seat base, and on the right hand side is obviously the original seat base, and it's low enough that the swivel plate basically takes up the difference. So what you end up with is the swivel plate on the lower base is roughly the same height as the original manufacturer's seat base. So it means that you don't end up trying to look out of too far up the windscreen, that the seat's the wrong height or anything like that. So it's time to reassemble all that and put it back in. But before then, I wanted to address the diesel heater situation. Right, so that's the diesel heater refitted. So I put it all back in, resealed everything, reconnected all the cables, reconnected all the pipes. I'm using the foil stuff around my pipes as just a bit of extra insulation, just so the heat doesn't actually escape through the pipe and gets more to the destination, which is the outlets. And as you can see, I've installed the lower seat base. So all it is now is a case of putting the swivel base on top, and then get the seat back in and yeah, make all that fit. So just for those that want to know, this is what a diesel heater looks like. And you've got an inlet and an outlet on the front there, and a fuel pipe. So that is your exhaust, that is the air intake, and that is the fuel. So every bit of the explosion of a diesel heater is contained inside the diesel heater. Fuel and air come in and out all through the floor, so they don't ever come into your van. That's the whole idea. And they come with this little plate at the bottom which seals against the floor, which is why you should always seal this against a floor or a turret plate, and never put it on a box or something like that. But I'm just going to open this one up, which is really easy, and just twist that end and then pop these off. So this is the diesel heater again. I've just taken the case in the front off. The fan end, which is the cold end, actually sucks air through, and then it takes it past this, which is the burn chamber. So that's just basically burning diesel. This is the glow plug, so when it starts to burn diesel, that's what gets hot and takes the most power. And then you've got your explosion going on in here. Now all that explosion is contained in and out of those two ports I've told you. So what happens to get hot air in a van? Well, it is quite crude, but it works quite well. This fan basically just blows cold air all the way past these fins of the burn chamber. Now bear in mind, this gets to about 200 degrees, So the cold air is sucked in and then blown out past all this and becomes hot air and is blown out the back. Now, to make that work perfectly well, first of all these have to be tight. And this is the first problem I had. On mine, they were not tight. Now, mate Alex Frood, did a video on these, and his were also quite loose. So when you get a diesel heater, no matter where you get it from, just check that the burn chamber bolts are all nice and tight, and that seal is tight there as well. So that was the problem on mine, is that wasn't tight, and therefore, obviously over the couple of months I've been using it, these have become loose. The seal had gone, and that's where the hot gases were coming out from. That then melted this, which is the upper case, and that's crucial to your operation of your diesel heater, because that case, when sits perfectly flat and safe around it, allows the air that's being sucked into there to go all the way around that chamber and come out the back. So if that isn't in place correctly, like that's not maybe or something, it means that it's less efficient at sucking that air through or blowing the air through, which means this burn chamber starts to get too warm because there's not enough cold air going past it to turn into hot air at the other end. And this is the biggest problem. These are just made out of plastic. They're all made out of plastic, by the way. You can go and buy the most expensive one of these that costs $2,000 from the big brand names. They're identical to this. Fair enough, their plastics might be made out of slightly different mixture of chemicals to make, maybe a harder plastic or something, but ultimately they're all made out of plastic. So inside there is identical to what you'd see on a $2,000, German one. The plastics, they're all the same. Yeah, they were just copied. The designs were just copied. So yeah, this case has got to fit perfectly so that fan can blow the cold air around this case, around the chamber, and then out that end, which is where you get your hot air from. Now, just want to clarify this, right? The cold air it's sucking in is inside your van, and the hot air it's blowing out is still inside your van. None of that has touched the engine, the burn chamber, the fuel, or anything like that. All it is pulling cold air in. The cold air passes this very, very hot chamber and blows that hot air out the back. That's it. Your combustion is still just there. Doesn't go anywhere else. So no fuel should come in or out. And that's why if you smell fuel in your van, then you've got two issues. This seal here, or this chamber, is leaking. Or this seal here is leaking, and they're leaking gas inside your van. So yeah, that's just the outlet. So as you can see there, that's obviously what most people just then connect your pipes to, or your ducting work and things like that. And then this end is just a fan that just spins and sucks cold air in from your van, blows it past the chamber and blows it out as hot air at the back. And like I say, the ideal situation is that this case is perfectly sealed all the way around there. And all that burn chamber inside there is perfectly sealed. And then your fan and your diesel heater is going to work fine. Say in my case, that seal had failed. These bolts were not tight. If you just undo that screw there, you can get access to all the bolts and everything like that. And that had caused the problem where it had melted the case because the fan wasn't running to blow everything past there to reduce its temperature. Basically because the case wasn't sat in its place correctly. How quickly things can go wrong, eh? And how easily they are to explain and fix, but at the time, when you see smoke in your van, you just leg it. So there we go, and that one's now all seated correctly. It's all sealed, and the little covers on the front there which holds it all back together. And that's all there. So that's now working perfectly. That's now our spare. So yeah, hopefully you understand now that's how a diesel heater works, and understand why my cab started filling up with smoke. To be cautious, I have returned that diesel heater and replaced it. It was on Amazon Prime, so I just basically rang them up and they sent another one out straight away. And I've returned the other one, so that's all sorted out now. These things happen. What I don't want to do is scare you to think all diesel heaters are crap. And also to educate you to say that pretty much all diesel heaters are an identical copy of the German ones. And yes, while you might hear of this going on, there's usually a really good reason why the diesel heaters failed. And hands up, I didn't check mine before I installed it. So what I've just shown you now is something I should have done before I installed it. I've checked Mandy's, so that one's all right, and I've checked the new one that's gone in my van, and that's all right as well. And as you're seeing, the other one that we've ordered as a spare, which is actually going to be a spare for Mandy's van, that one's all right as well. But it is worth checking. I know for a fact that Alex Frood got one to check, or got one to review, I think it was, and that was falling to pieces straight out of the box from the manufacturer that sent it in to review it. So just goes to show you. So at least this way now, I've got a 2-seater sofa that way. I've got another 1 seat there as well, so I can have 3 people sat there, or as Mandy uses it, has been using it anyway, with some cushions down there. She can stretch her legs all the way out that way. So that's pretty cool as well. I suppose it would even work out as a bed, you know, sort of, but yeah, it does allow that much more to stretch out. This one then is obviously a seat you can sit there, so it means I can seat 4 people in my van now, so that's quite cool. And then if I spin this one round that way, it means I can then sit there and stretch my legs out there. So that's working out quite well. So that's lower seat, that's lower seat, so at least they match now, unlike the fabric of all my seats, which will match soon. I just need to get this finalized and the dimensions of this finalized until we can do that. So I just wanted to give you an update on the Ukraine trip as well. That didn't happen last week. Sadly, only 2 people stepped forward with donations of power banks. So thanks very much for you 2 guys. I'm just going to make a pile of stuff here, and then the next time it's safer to go out, and I'm going to get more stuff. I'll just get it myself, and then basically take it out. Right, well, that's enough waffle inside the van. Obviously the van's now in the workshop, and I've got loads of work to do. So yeah, I'll catch you on the next one, guys. Bye.